Hey there, everybody. The purpose of this video is just to remind you how to add some trend lines to a scatter plot in case you've forgotten how to do this when we did it earlier in class. So this is your spreadsheet you're going to see when you crack open the Usain spreadsheet at first. These are his times as he passed these distance marks. So if you think about it, it's very similar to the bike experiment that we did, except these folks had distance markers at every 10 meters where we were at every 25 feet. Same basic principle though. And here's your scatter plot over here. So I'm going to show you real quick how to add a trend line. I'm going to actually ask you to add trend curves, not lines, but we'll start with a line. It's pretty simple after that, and I think it'll come back to you then. So start by left clicking on the chart you want to add the trend line or curve to. Then a little green box or a little green cross up here shows up. Left click that, you get a little side menu that pops out. Go down to trend line, but don't click trend line. Just click this little arrow over here. And then go to more options. I've always been a fan of using the more options case. Let me scroll over a little bit so you can see. Okay. So that is the linear trend line. Okay. Now the one thing I definitely want Excel to force itself to do is to set the intercept at 0. I want this trend line to go through y equals 0. Notice when you don't, it comes down here to a negative distance, which, you know, isn't that big of a deal because we know that this is a best fit and not a perfect fit data set. But when I look at that value right there, that puppy dog is sitting down around -8, maybe -9 meters. That's significant. You know, we're talking about backing up 25 feet in a 100-meter race. So you know, when you're talking about that kind of error, I want to alleviate that as much as possible, and I want to set the intercept at 0. Now there's other options you can do. I'm not going to ask you to do them. You can put the equation on the chart, and that pops up here. I'll show you what that looks like right here. I'll make it larger so you can see it. What that says is if we use a linear model to describe this data, the slope of that line is about 10, which means, according to the model, every 10 meters takes Usain Bolt about, well, actually it's 9.78, but it takes him 1 second to go about that many meters. Now, you can tell by looking at this data that is not at all what's going on. You've got a belly here, and then you've got something going on up here, and that's what the question is going to have you examining, is how to better approximate this. So that linear trend line is gone. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So what you'll do is when you go to those trend line options, you will mess around with the other choices, and I'm gonna guide you through that as part of the problem. So anyway, just wanted to get you a video so that you knew how to actually add a trend. You'll add trend curves or trend lines, and really the kicker is make sure you set that intercept to 0 even when you start messing around with your trend curves. All right, hope that helped. See you in class.